Hi, my name is Emily Burns, and this is my final capstone presentation. My public issue is sexually transmitted diseases. Sexually transmitted diseases are a very important topic and very prevalent within society. This issue is especially common amongst teenagers and college students. Sexually transmitted diseases are so common yet so easily prevented in the populations they most commonly occur. Currently in Minnesota, the STD rates of chlamydia, gonorrhea, and syphilis have increased in record numbers. In the 10 years from 2007 to 2017, those STDs increased between 70 and 80%. I care for a high amount of patients on the medical surgical unit that I work in a trauma center in downtown St. Paul, Minnesota. Many of these patients are diagnosed with STDs or identify that they participate in unsafe sexual practices. There are many preventable diseases that could be addressed by proper education and primary care treatment outside of the hospital. For my first reflective individual experience, I worked in an assisted living and memory care facility. This was about 3.5 years ago. This was among a staff of about 7 to 8 other nurses. And I was the youngest nurse by about 20 years and the most novice. It was an intimidating experience to bring my voice forth in the matters of policies and decision-making in the facility. And while working as an RN at this facility, I was in the middle of completing this RN to BSN program, where I was researching and looking through evidence-based practices nearly daily. Through this, I realized that the policies and practices in my workplace haven't been updated in many years, and are practices based on corporate regulation versus being referenced to actual evidence-based practices. Many of the practices are based on financial purposes. Through this, I became more involved with the policy updating that they do yearly. Most of the time it was little updates, but I tried to bring forth some evidence-based practices. Throughout this project and this nursing program, I have learned the importance of being a reflective individual and to consistently continue to engage in inquiry and critical thinking beyond the years of being a novice nurse. It can be easy to grow stagnant in one's career and to continue to do things the way they've always been done. It is typically the easy way to go, but it is crucial to remain a reflective individual throughout your whole career and life in addition. Through being a reflective individual in the context of my public issue project on sexually transmitted diseases, I integrated my learning and research and put this into practice on educating others. To use the reflection on my experiences and using those healthcare professionals from specific communities to use their experiences in those communities and cultures, and adjust education on sexually transmitted diseases and tailor it in a way that the patient would have the most effective learning. I have also gained confidence in my nursing practice and in my voice now from when I began as a nurse, and did not feel as though I had the ability to say much within my practice. Through reflecting on my experiences and my research and critical thinking through the years in this program, I have become more comfortable talking about and educating patients on topics that I am knowledgeable. My second reflective individual experience relates to growing up in a diverse metropolitan throughout my lifetime, and how I have been exposed and have the privilege to be exposed to many different cultures and various perspectives. I have also been able to do quite a bit of traveling in my life and have been able to see and learn about different art, literature, music, culture, and different ways of life. Along with the environmental exposures of these various perspectives and disciplines, I have participated in many classes throughout college that have discussed these different approaches and mediums of life. Through this, I've been able to reflect on these different experiences and apply them into my practice when applicable. The art and practice of being a reflective individual brings to mind something that has been very popular in the media right now related to medicine. Since the beginning of the year, the coronavirus, or COVID-19, has been progressively getting more and more popular in the news and amongst people in society with growing fear. Along with these conversations and news reports comes with some racist rhetoric relating the disease to Asian people and being dirty. With this new disease, some areas of social media are equating Asian and Chinese people to be automatic carriers of the illness and relating this to their food practices and using this as an excuse for racism. This can be related back to my public issue project in sexually transmitted diseases, as many people have the stigma that sexually transmitted disease means a person is dirty or promiscuous. This can aid to the hesitance of people getting tested, and then it can add to the spreading of STDs. It is important to use this reflective individual experience to reflect on these instances and to educate those people who may think that this is the way it is. In my first effective communicator experience in the assisted living facility, there was a communication disconnect at times when caring for memory care patients. These patients would sometimes be aphasic, or parts of their brain would not allow them to be able to form sentences that other people could understand. All the while, they thought what they were saying was completely normal. In these times, it was crucial to take visual cues from the patient to attempt to understand what they are trying to tell you, as there are no interpreters for these kinds of patients. When moving my career to a hospital, I still had these kinds of patients with memory impairments, but also had many patients with language barriers. In these circumstances, we have a few resources we can use to achieve proper communication. There are video interpreters for times when in-person interpreters are not available. We have interpreters available through the phone, and what we try to use whenever possible is in-person interpreters for all crucial interactions with the patient, but also for as much interaction as possible. Communication is one of the most important factors in receiving proper healthcare needs. If a healthcare professional is unable to properly understand what a patient is trying to get across, there can be dire consequences. When working in a Level 1 trauma center in a diverse metropolitan area, there are many circumstances where the level of communication from the healthcare provider does not match that of a patient. Whether it is cognitive, language, behavioral, cultural, or another difference, it is something that is necessary for the healthcare provider to find common ground to be able to properly communicate for their patient. This experience in effective communication ties back to my public issue of sexually transmitted diseases, and that it is imperative to provide these patients in an outpatient settings who are at high risk for STDs with culturally competent care and meet them at their communication style and level for the best possible learning and education. Solutions to issues within communities are solved best when the ideas are formed from those that are from those communities. If the mobile healthcare clinics are staffed by those who are from or representative of the people from their communities, the help may be more well received. Prior to starting at a hospital, I had little interaction with doctors at my job as a nurse in an assisted living facility. In this specific situation, I was taking a verbal order from a doctor on pain medications for one of my patients. I was nervous about having to talk with a doctor for one of the first times, and this specific doctor seemed quite impatient, which added to my anxieties. My nervousness led me to write down the wrong order, but I did not read the order back to the doctor to confirm that it was correct. I was nervous, and that led me to not practice effective communication, and in return, the order I wrote down was for a very high dose of a narcotic medication. I noticed this mistake immediately, but I had to correct this by repaging the doctor and getting that order again with proper readback of the order. This doctor was not very happy, and I was also not very happy with myself. Although this was a mistake and a nerve-wracking experience, it served as a learning experience and helped me become a more effective communicator and active listener, and I have not made that mistake since then. Throughout my time in my career as a registered nurse and now nearing the end of my journey into obtaining my Bachelor of Science in Nursing, my communication skills have developed and evolved in a very effective and beneficial way. In the beginning of my career, I was a very timid communicator with little confidence in myself of what I was saying, and it was likely that those on the receiving end of my communication would feel and read those nonverbals. Now, as I have progressed through my time as a nurse and through my bachelor's degree, I believe my communication has also drastically evolved in all forms. This evolution is partly due to experience in gaining education, so I am more confident about what is being discussed. This ties back to sexually transmitted treatment and education in the way of it can be an uncomfortable thing to talk about, even as an educated healthcare professional. Through experience and continued education and research, it is easier to talk and educate on subjects when you feel more confidently educated on this topic as well. My first change agent experience happened within my assisted living facility in a local community. They have menus with choices that include healthy options along with very unhealthy options. When talking with residents of that facility and facility staff, it was reported that there has never been a speaker or educational programs that have visited the facility. This is where I identified the need for a type of program that educates the elderly residents on choosing healthy meals based on their specific health needs. Through the lifespan, there is an emphasis on getting healthy and maintaining a level of health that will last a person to a life in the 80s or 90s. Some people assume that once a person has reached post-retirement age that they do not need to worry as much about maintaining a healthy life. It was made clear to me through the Change Agent Project that the elderly still have a high value in trying to maintain a healthy life full of independence and are willing to do the work to do this. To make effective change in a facility like this, where the nurses are often overworked and understaffed, is a difficult feat. It takes teamwork and sometimes helpful to have an outsider to assist and give an assessment from a different point of view. Through the feedback received from the residents on the one informational session about nutrition for the elderly I held, it was made clear that there would be interest in this and it would be welcomed. This applies to situations within making changes in regards to STDs. There's a large opportunity for change agents within schools to an audience of teenagers. By educating on sexually transmitted diseases to audiences at a younger age, there's a higher likelihood of reaching out to them, hopefully before they have started becoming sexually active, and to give them all the tools to be successful in keeping themselves and others safe. My second change agent experience happened within the hospital unit I'm currently working at. There's a team called the Green Team, and this team is made up of nurses, patients, PCAs, housekeepers, and any other staff on the unit. I am one of the members on the team who originally came up with the idea of forming a group in the first place. I, along with my coworkers, realized the fact that nurses and healthcare workers are often overworked and understaffed, but still believe that recycling is very necessary. So on this team, we collaborate to come up with very easy ways for staff to recycle without having to think too much about it, and that doesn't take any more time than just throwing something away. We also began to promote the idea to really try and take only what you need and not to use up things in excess. We made boards that we placed around the unit to emphasize this practice, and also included how we are so fortunate in our American hospitals to have so many resources at the palm of our hand. We also included in our display about how many places around the world don't have this privilege and to take only what you need into patient rooms. On this team, we wanted to use the resources we already had around the unit to simplify the recycling process. Since the start of this group, we now have practices in place, one of them being using the hard plastic used in empty sanitizer white buckets and placing them on the counter near IV fluid prep stations. In these buckets, nurses are supposed to place hard plastics, which are often opened and then thrown away. Once the bucket is full, the cap is placed back on the bucket, and the bucket is then thrown in the hard plastic recycling bin. It is important for there to be change agents in all places, including outpatient settings. To have an outsider come in and look at a situation, give recommendations on how to make a difference in an easy way is crucial. This relates to having a mobile healthcare unit in situations to treat, educate, and care for populations and communities dealing with high incidences of sexually transmitted diseases. To have this mobilized health unit physically go into the communities so members of the community don't have to go out of their way to a clinic, which may not be logistically or even possible, bringing care to the patient or patients allows for more to be educated and treated. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Throughout this program, I have learned so incredibly much, developed my critical thinking skills dramatically, and have adopted this learning into my practice. I have had so many experiences through the last few years in my time at Nebraska Methodist College that have assisted in me being an educated citizen. One of the biggest things I have learned in my time here is that the learning and experiences will never and should never stop. I will be forever building myself as an educated citizen throughout my personal and career experiences. Thank you.